Ever feel like you're living someone else's life? Checking boxes, climbing ladders, waiting for weekends that never feel long enough? I sure did. So my wife and I broke most of the rules that they handed us. And by 39, we walked away from work forever. Sure, people called us reckless, but as George Bernard Shaw said, the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. This video is about the story of how being unreasonable set us free and how you can do it too. See, the life everyone warned you about, the one that looks risky, weird, or even reckless from the outside, is often the only path to real freedom. True independence isn't about having more. It's about needing less, about questioning the script and having the guts to choose your own way, even when everyone else thinks you're crazy. So if you ever looked around and thought, is this really all there is? Then you're in the right place. If you want to know how to break free from the script and start living on your own terms, hit the subscribe button now. I promise, we're just getting started. Man, when I was younger, in my early 20s, I just remember looking around and thinking, is this really what being an adult is? Everybody seemed tired, like actually tired. Always something to complain about, whether it's work, bills, the car breaking down, the boss being a jerk, the kids driving them nuts. And then they look at me and say, just wait, this will be you soon. Like it was some kind of badge of honor. And honestly, I just didn't get it. Why would I want that? Why would anyone? It felt like everyone was just doing the same thing. Working all week, blowing money on stuff that they didn't even seem to enjoy, and then stressing about how to pay for it all. New cars, big houses, Disney trips, kitchen remodels, just stacking up more bills and more stress. All that just to keep up with the neighbors who were just as stressed out. It's like life turns into this endless loop. Work, spend, stress, repeat. You make more money, but you spend more, and somehow you're still stuck. And the debt, don't even get me started. Car payments, credit cards, student loans. I mean, it's like everybody's just one flat tire away from a nervous breakdown. Do you ever feel like this is really all there is? Just counting down to the next weekend, hoping for a break? Well, if you ever thought that, trust me, you're not weird. You're just not broken. In fact, I would argue that you're actually just awake. So a little bit about me. I grew up in Wisconsin. Pretty standard middle-class stuff. My parents worked hard. We had what we needed, but nothing too fancy. Honestly, childhood was pretty good. And like most kids, I just did what I was supposed to do. I got decent grades, went to a four-year college because, well, that's what you're supposed to do, right? I landed a real job after graduation and eventually moved to Indiana for it. Bought a house, got a car, even got a dog. I mean, I was checking all the boxes. Looking back, it was like following the script that someone else wrote for me. Go to school, get a job, buy stuff, keep climbing. I mean, I was doing everything right. At least that's what everyone told me. But honestly, it never really felt like my life. More like I was just acting out a part in someone else's story. So here's where things started to get weird, at least according to everyone else. While my friends were out buying shiny new cars, booking Disney trips, and dropping a fortune on kitchen upgrades, I just didn't. I watched people around me climb the career ladder, move into big houses, and somehow end up with even bigger bills. It was like everyone was just in this race to see who could spend the most money the fastest. Meanwhile, I was over here clipping coupons and driving the same old car. Now, I didn't feel deprived, I just didn't see the point in working so hard only to spend it all trying to keep up with everyone else. That's the thing that nobody really talks about, lifestyle creep. You get a raise, you spend more. Your neighbor gets a new grill and suddenly you need one too. And before you know it, you're stuck in this endless loop of more. So I opted out. I mean, I still did stuff, don't get me wrong, but I found ways to have fun without draining my bank account. Things like cheap concerts, hikes, vacations to visit family back in Wisconsin. backyard barbecues, nothing too fancy, but it worked for me. And here's the wild part. Because I didn't give in to all that lifestyle creep, I was able to save around 70% of my income. Yeah, you heard that right, 70%. Then something just clicked for me. Around my late 20s, Anthony Bourdain was everywhere on TV. I'd watch him travel, eat exotic food, meet people from all over the world. And honestly, I was hooked. He just had this way of living that was raw and real. No suits, no script, just freedom. And then YouTube started blowing up. Suddenly there was all these young travel vloggers out there wandering the planet, making money online, and living their life totally on their own terms. No bosses, no alarm clocks, no shoulds. They weren't following the script at all. Later on, these people became known as digital nomads. Man, they looked free, and I wanted that. I wanted to wake up and decide what to do with my day, not have it decided for me. Watching them, I started to wonder, what if I could actually do this? What if a different kind of life was possible for me? Not just people on TV or on YouTube. And that thought stuck with me. And honestly, it lit a fire that I couldn't ignore. So I started looking for a way out. I researched all sorts of stuff to make money online. We're talking drop shipping, writing, Amazon FBA, you name it, I probably Googled it at 2 a.m. But the one thing that stuck with me was affiliate marketing. And I didn't know what I was doing at first, but I just dove in head first and started teaching myself everything that I could. So once I learned enough about affiliate marketing, I picked a niche and built a website. Started messing around with SEO, and I waited. And then one day, several months later, I made my first money online. 40 cents. Yeah, 40 cents. I mean, I was basically a digital Rockefeller at that point. But honestly, that tiny win, that meant the world to me. It was proof that this just wasn't a crazy dream. I could actually do this. I could make money on my terms, even if it wasn't enough to pay for a pack of gum at first. That's when I knew I was onto something. Now, here's another area where I really went off script. While most folks were busy upgrading their kitchens or buying new SUVs, I decided to do something that would have made the financial gurus online roll their eyes so hard you could hear it. I made it my mission to pay off my house. Every extra dollar that I had, I threw it at the mortgage. Everyone said I was nuts, like, why would you do that? You could be investing. You're missing out. Well, two things. First, I was still investing. I was putting plenty into my 401k at work. Second, I no longer wanted financial obligations. I wanted options. I wanted to wake up and not have to worry about a giant bill hanging over my head every month. And let me tell you, when that last payment cleared, it felt like the world just opened up. No more debt, no big bills. Suddenly, life seemed to get a whole lot bigger. Now, I'm not saying that this is the best financial decision for everyone, but it was for me at the time. All right, so after all that saving and hustling, it was time for the big leap. I was 39 by this time. I had built up a solid nest egg, paid off the house, and finally had enough money coming in from my online work, my affiliate marketing side gig, to cover the basics. So that's when I decided to pull the plug. I quit my job. I can honestly say that quitting my job felt like jumping out of a plane for the first time. Shortly after that, I remember booking my first flight to Thailand. Yeah, I was excited, but honestly, I was terrified. I mean, what if I hated it? I didn't know anybody there, nor do I speak Thai, so how was I going to eat or get around? What if I just totally screwed this up and had to come crawling back to a regular 9 to 5? But I have to tell you, booking that flight literally changed the course of my life. See, I planned to stay in Thailand for about a month just to test the waters, but I ended up staying for 2. It turns out that Thailand is pretty amazing and really a super easy place to be a tourist. Also, more importantly, freedom isn't scary at all. In fact, it's quite addictive. Waking up every day and just deciding what you want to do, that's a feeling you can't really describe until you've lived it. But even then, there was this little voice in my head, okay, I made it this far, but what happens next? Can I really make this work in the long haul? Well, after that first taste of freedom, I kept traveling, and later that year I went back to Asia. This time I went for 6 months and I visited 10 different countries in total. At one point, I found myself in Cambodia. And let me tell you, as a newbie traveler, Cambodia was a lot different to Thailand. Fewer people spoke English, and it was a lot more, well, rougher on the edges than Thailand. Anyway, while enduring the heat and sipping on fresh coconuts, I met Darvi. She was smart, funny, and get this, she didn't want the normal life either. Though she too had been following the script, doing everything she was supposed to, like getting a master's degree in Australia, getting a good paying 9-to-5 job in Phnom Penh, and saving for her future. But she also had no desire to chase after the next big thing or to live by anyone else's rules. We talked about everything, money, dreams, what we wanted out of life. And it turns out she'd been saving too, and she wanted the same kind of freedom that I did. It was like meeting someone who spoke the same secret language. Long story short, we clicked. We eventually got married. Now we're early retired and get to travel the world together for half the year. And you know what? It turns out that the best things happen when you step off the script. So what does our life look like now? Honestly, it's pretty damn good. These days, Darvi and I spend 5 or 6 months each year just, well, traveling. Sometimes we're taming water monitor lizards in Bangkok. Sometimes we're exploring a crazy street market in Cambodia. Sometimes we're riding a gondola to the top of a mountain in Taipei. The best part is, there's no alarm set for the morning, unless we have a flight the next day. We get to wake up and decide what we want to do, not what we have to do. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not rich, at least not in the material sense. We don't have yachts or fancy watches or a walk-in closet full of useless crap. But we're rich in time, rich in choices. And honestly, isn't that what really matters? For us, it is. I know a lot of people worry, like, what if I run out of money? What if I get bored? What if I miss out? But the truth is, I've never felt more alive or more at peace. See, we traded stuff for freedom, and I'd do it all again in a heartbeat. If you're sitting there wondering, is this possible or is it even worth it? I'm telling you, it is. Look, I know this isn't what most people do. The life you're warned about, the one that seems risky or weird or even a little reckless, sometimes that's the only life really worth living. So let me ask you, are you brave enough to try it? I mean, what's actually stopping you from writing your own script? So here's what I've learned. If you want a different life, you have to make different choices. You can't follow the herd and expect to end up somewhere new. The crowd will always call you crazy, right up until the day they start calling you lucky. See, you only get one shot at this. Don't waste it living someone else's dream. Write your own script. If you're ready to start being a little unreasonable, go watch our other video about how we actually live this life with $1 million, travel the world, and dodge the big mistakes that could ruin your retirement dreams. I'll leave the link down below. And hey, if you want more real talk about early retirement and living life on your own terms, don't forget to subscribe before you go. Thanks for hanging out with me. Stay unreasonable, and I'll see you over there.